Through 3 weeks, the Vikings have been one of the league's best teams.
We really like that. Job ain't done though.
First things first, I want to apologize to the Minnesota Vikings because I did not see this one coming. The Vikings are a team that many thought would be lackluster this season. Not because of the team as a whole, the reason why is because of their QB situation. The Vikings did not re-sign Kirk Cousins after his Achilles injury. Kirk is not the greatest QB of all time, but he is a guy who can win some regular season games. But with that in mind, the Vikings were not pleased with his production over the years. On top of that being an older QB with an injury history, the decision to move on from him was not that hard for them to make because they had simply seen enough. So what do you do when you need a quarterback? You go out there and either draft a guy or acquire one in free agency. The Vikings decided to do both. Sam Darnold was a free agent, a guy who was drafted by the Jets, traded to the Panthers, signed by the 49ers to back up Brock Purdy, a guy who is looking to reclaim some of his happiness that he had at USC, but has yet to find it in the NFL. The Vikings also drafted JJ McCarthy in the draft with the 10th pick, a starter for the Michigan Wolverines, a national championship winning quarterback, a 21-year-old who has only attempted 713 passes in 3 seasons in college, while other guys in this draft class like Caleb Williams, Jane Daniels, Michael Penix Jr. all had more than 1,000 pass attempts in college. So the biggest concern here is the fact that JJ McCarthy simply wasn't asked to do a whole lot at Michigan because they were a run-based team. But the optimism was that he did make key plays when needed to. But if we discount injuries, JJ would have been walking into one of the best situations: Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. So the hope for the season, at least from the outside looking in, was that JJ could eventually become the starter, if not the day one starter, while placing Sam Darnold in either a bridge position or a backing up JJ. And in the preseason, JJ showed some flashes that impressed everyone.
Here's his first pass. Fastball.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, here it is.
Got him! Got him!
Well, that hope for the new era at quarterback for the Vikings would soon come to a pause. The news of JJ McCarthy's meniscus injury was devastating, as it was coming right after a great game. So many looked at Sam Darnold and wondered, could he turn back the hands of time to his days at USC, or would it be more of the same for Sam Darnold? Many were optimistic because this would be the best collection of talent he has ever played with. But with optimism being there for others, the doubt was high for others as well. Many believe Sam Darnold was a guy who couldn't read defenses at times, a bad decision maker at times, and someone who did not have the confidence that made you believe that he believed in himself anymore. But finally, we have the gray area where I and a few others were, because we saw what Baker Mayfield did in a better situation. They were both drafted by organizations that do not develop the quarterback position well at all. So maybe, just maybe, Sam Darnold can become the next QB to leave a situation and become better, because this could potentially be the last chance that he gets to prove that it was the organization's fault. Whether that was due to the lack of weapons or the lack of development, this was going to be the time that he can prove that he is indeed a legit starter in the NFL. And in week 1, we would see a glimpse of what could potentially be a great season for Sam Darnold.
Darnold throws.
Too easy.
Darnold pump fake throws. End zone touchdown.
19 of 24, 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. The Vikings defense will hold the Giants to 6 points, but it's the Giants, right? Up until the following week, Daniel Jones had not threw a touchdown pass since his new deal was signed. The Giants are not that great on defense either, so putting up 28 points on the Giants is not that big of a deal, right? Although the Vikings did get a defensive touchdown off of a Daniel Jones interception, but once again, it's the Giants, right? Let's see them actually play somebody. Well, what about a Super Bowl caliber team? In week 2, the Vikings would beat the 49ers despite a fourth quarter comeback effort. 268 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception for Sam Darnold in what I would call a quality win. But wait, the 49ers have regular season fatigue. They do have some injuries. They are cruising through trying to make it to the playoffs, and simply underestimating the Vikings Vikings. It was a trap game, right? Well, what about a young team that has made the playoffs and has a playoff win, but is looking to take that next step? A team that has a franchise quarterback, a team that made some offseason moves that they believe will continue to propel them to new heights, a team that many people, including myself, place as a playoff favorite to make a deep run. Well, in this game, the Vikings would flat out dominate in every facet of the game, the defense being the most impressive. CJ Stroud would throw 2 interceptions in this game, and overall, the offense played very well. Justin Jefferson would score on a 6-yard pass from Sam Darnold to start it off. Aaron Jones would get in the action as well, making the score 14-0. Then Jalen Naylor would catch a touchdown pass, making it 21-0. The Texans would not score until the third quarter with a touchdown catch from CJ to Cam Akers, but that would be pretty much it for the Texans offense. Will Riker would add 2 field goals in the fourth quarter for the Vikings with a Johnny Mutt touchdown catch in between that. Sam Darnold finished with 181 yards, 4 touchdowns, and the Vikings looked pretty good even without Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkins still out recovering from his ACL tear. But other than Sam Darnold, what else has the team done? Well, they added Aaron Jones, a guy who has become a massive upgrade in the backfield, running and making plays, catching the ball better than I thought he would. The defense is playing out of their minds, at least 5 sacks in each of their first 3 games. They lead the NFL with 16 total sacks. I have to give it to Brian Flores. He has these guys balling, and you know we gotta talk about Kevin O'Connell. If the man can do anything, he can call plays and get the best out of his QBs. We saw this in a stretch with Josh Dobbs until, well,
Bears, this one is intercepted by Chicago.
but if Sam Darnold keeps this up, the Vikings are going to be a problem. They also added guys like Van Ginkel from the Miami Dolphins, Black Cashman, and Jonathan Greener from the Texans, along with other guys to bolster up this defense. But I will say, and correct me if I'm wrong, the plan for this Viking defense looks to be a move towards bringing in depth for this team. They also drafted Dallas Turner, who is hurt right now, but in my opinion will become one of the best players on that defense. And in all honesty, the most underrated draft move that they made was Will Riker, a great kicker. Yes, I'm talking about a kicker. Y'all gotta stop sleeping on the importance of having a great kicker. His ceiling is super high for a kicker, and when it comes down to it, I think he is going to make clutch kicks for this team going forward, and you're going to appreciate it when it's your turn to kick a game-winning field goal. Now, this early regular season success is somewhat surprising. However, looking at last year, I can see why to some it may not be, because whenever the Vikings have had just decent QB play, they get dubs. After Kirk Cousins went down last year, Josh Dobbs got a win over the Falcons and the Saints before coming back down to earth. And if your name is Nick Mullins, you can also get a 3-0 win over the Raiders, because this team is secretly talented at multiple positions on offense and defense, and it's not because they're flashy. To me, it seems like they are a team that has a good culture, is well coached offensively, defensively, and on special teams. But what's even more important than all of that is that they play hard for each other. They just don't get the same love that other teams do in the media, but I think now is the time to put some respect on the Vikings name and show them some love. And I know it's just 3 games, but it has been impressive that the Minnesota Vikings have been able to do this for these 3 games, because like I said earlier, they have a quarterback in Sam Darnold who many thought was done in the NFL. This defense is emerging as one of the best in the NFL right now. But to me, what was more impressive than anything was the fact that they beat the Texans down without even being at full strength. So it's going to be very interesting to see them later on in the season, and that's me speculating and assuming that they're going to get healthy at some point in time. Now, during the course of any NFL season, many teams are going to be banged up. Nobody is going to be exactly at 100% health. That's just the name of the game. But at the end of the day, if a team can somewhat have their guys ready to go in terms of health, it's going to be a dangerous time for anybody playing the Minnesota Vikings. That's how it's looking right now. Can Sam Darnold stay consistent? We will see. Oh, and did I tell you they have the best wide receiver in football? Just check it.